Okay, resetters, we're going in on the arm. We're gonna talk about how do you tighten this stuff up. There are some really interesting hacks you can use to tighten flabby arms, and on this video, I'm gonna show you the best ones. Okay, first, you guys hopefully all know me. I like to teach the concepts because I'm not here to spoon feed the information to you. I'm here to get you to think for yourself and make really smart choices for your own health. Saying that, I do realize that as many of you have lost a tremendous amount of weight fasting, that this extra loose skin is become a challenge. So we're just gonna hone in on the arm for a second because there are some really clear ways that we can start to affect the flabbiness of our arms. We can bring some muscle back and you can feel good about walking out in your tank top and showing off your gorgeous body. So here's the big principle that I want you to know is that one, if you want to affect the flabby arm, you gotta start by looking at building muscle. I know that seems like so obvious, but really if you think about it, the flabby arm oftentimes is skin that just has to be filled in. And maybe it was filled in with fat before, so now let's fill it in with muscle. I'm also gonna explain a little bit about some of the especially people who feel like they have cellulite, that can be stuck lymph. So we'll talk about that in a moment and how you can move the lymph through that. But when we look at building muscle, there are three things I want you to think about when it comes to the arm. So the first is that we want to look at both your bicep and your tricep. Lift something. Your tricep is going to help with extension and help you push out of a chair. What's interesting about the tricep to me is that I think as you get older, the tricep, I know everybody wants that nice back of the arm, but as you get older, I think you need that tricep to be able to lift yourself out of a chair. I actually witnessed this when my dad, he's in his mid-80s, when he had knee surgery and we were trying to move him around. What I noticed is, wow, when you get to that age, it's really imperative that you have arm strength to be able to lift yourself out of a chair like post-surgery like he was experiencing. The other thing is that we want to work on our pecs up here in the front because the pecs are going to give you that definition, especially in the front part of your shoulder. So you know what's the best for the pecs is push-ups. And push-ups you can do anywhere. You all know, hopefully, that I love giving you things that are free and you can do anywhere. So with push-ups, there's all these push-up challenges that have gone around. So make sure, maybe do 25 push-ups a day. I know people have done 30-day challenges of 100 push-ups a day. I think that's a great way to get yourself in a habit. And what we know is that the push-up will help with the pecs. It's gonna help with the anterior delt. So it's gonna give you that nice looking front part of your arm. And it also is going to make you really strong. It will contribute to the pushing out of the chair. So it also has a functionality other than just looking great. I think it's a great tool is the push-up. So the other thing I want to talk about when you start to do more of these weight training situations, some of the best things you can do are body weight exercise. So push-ups are using your weight. You have to push down, you have to push up. I like tricep dips. You have to push down and push up. Bicep curls are a little bit harder, but we've even in my Reset Academy, we do a Saturday morning workout with my whole community. And sometimes if people don't have weights, I'll just have them go grab some cans out of their pantry and we'll do some lifts with cans. So there's also that possibility. I can tell you in my own home, what I love as a strengthening tool for my arms is the TRX. I have no affiliation to the TRX. I just love it. It's great for push-ups. It's great for tricep dips. It's great for deltoids. So it really can get all aspects of the arm. Okay, the other part of building muscle is eating protein. And this is one of my favorite fasting hacks. And I've shared this with you all, but in case you missed it, let me share it again. When we work out in a fasted state, what ends up happening is we start to release glucose out of our muscle. That's what you're doing. You're actually forcing your muscle to start to release glucose. So we go into a fasted state. The body's needing to pull sugar, the reserves from sugar, or where our sugar reserves are, in one of the places in muscle, and then you work the muscle. So let's use the push-up as an example. Let's say it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm in a fasted state. I decide it's my push-up challenge day and I do 100 push-ups. What will happen is my body will say, hey, we need more glucose to be able to perform this movement. And it will release glucose that's stored not only in the muscle, but for some of you, it's the fat around the muscle that it will release that into your system so you can be able to actually do the push-up. It's brilliant. And when you get done with that workout, then your next step is to stimulate the amino acid receptor site inside that muscle to make it grow stronger, and you can stimulate that through protein. So if you were wanting to get better arms, this is the way I would look at it, is I would work out, do your arm strengthening workout in a fasted state, push your arms to fatigue. So if you're doing push-ups and tricep dips, do as many as you can until you're like, oh, no more. Now we've released all that sugar. If you're doing it at home, go in the kitchen and eat some protein. Maybe you eat some eggs. Sometimes I'll do a breakfast sausage. I have smoothies that I'll do. Sometimes I'll do a protein powder. But make sure you're getting at least 30 grams of protein to be able to build that muscle. Okay, the other concept that I want you to access is remember that when we look at fasting, there's so many different places that you can go with fasting, so many different healing states that occur as you fast. But when we're looking at flabbiness, when we're looking at cellulite, the thing we want to stimulate is autophagy. Because when we are in a state of autophagy, what the intelligence of your body is doing is it's turning within and it's starting to eat what is already there within your body. Well, when we look at flabbiness, when we look at cellulite, there's a lot in cellulite. Sometimes it's toxins, sometimes it's hormones, sometimes it's glucose, and it's stagnant in there. And so when you dip into more autophagy fasting, so autophagy fasting, if you haven't read Fast Like a Girl, I map it all out in there. But autophagy fasting is anywhere from 17 hours to 72 hours is where you're going to start to see this autophagy effect happen. So if you are like working out really hard and you're doing the protein refeed and you're still wanting to get better results, then once a week, once a month, throw in some of those longer fasts so that you can mobilize any cellulite that might be there and force your body to eat the bad so you get more definition. So more autophagy fasting. Okay, I got to interrupt this video because I have a free guide for you so you can master fasting. It's called A Beginner's Guide to a Fasting Lifestyle, and all you've got to do is click here and you can jump right in. The last concept, and this one is really interesting, and I've talked a lot about it, not recently, but I think it's something we got to bring back to the conversation we're all having here, which is your lymph. So with your lymph, remember, lymph's job is to take all the toxins that are in every organ, every muscle, and get rid of it. And so when we look at our lymph pathways are in our neck, they're above our collarbone, they're in our thoracic duct, in our sternum. We have lymph under our arms, our inguinal area, our gut, our liver has a lymph system. Lymph is how your body carries out the toxins from these particular organs and muscle. So if that lymph is stagnant, it's going to create more of a softer look, could create more of a flabbiness, could create more of a cellulite look to your body. So the example that I use often, and I spoke of this on the Stephen Bartlett on Diary of a CEO podcast, that when you look in the mirror, especially when we're looking at arms, you can go look after this video, go look and see, do you have a pit or a puff under your arm? It should be an armpit. There should be an indentation. Now there's muscle in there, but right underneath the muscle should be a pit. And if there's not a pit, if there's a puff, that means that what's happening is as the lymph is moving out of your arm and into your thoracic area, it's getting stagnant there. So get yourself a loofah, like one of those dry sponges, and get in there and start scrubbing under your arms. I do this every time I get into the shower. Now, I do want to throw out that one of the things that could be clogging lymph under the armpit, affecting flabby arms, is your deodorant. So toxic deodorant is going to clog this area. So now if there's lymph that needs to move out of the arm and go into the armpit and then into the thoracic duct, your toxic deodorant becomes a major problem and it clogs all that up. And so then it's like a backup system into the arm. So we've got to get all of that moving. We got to get in there with a loofah. We got to get in there and sweat a little bit more. Sweating is a beautiful way to open up lymph. You got to start to open up the lymph channels above your collarbone. I've done a lot of videos on opening lymph up. I'm sure my team will put some of those in here so you all can see it. But we've got to move lymph. We've got to stimulate autophagy so that we can get rid of the gook. We've got to build muscle by making sure that we're actually using those muscles. We can also build muscle by fasting and then refeeding with protein. And it is absolutely crazy the results you will see when you start to look at it from that angle. Last thing I want to say, those of you that look in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, my flabby arm, I hate it. Stop talking to yourself like that. Stop criticizing the body parts that you don't like. And so when we look at ourselves in the mirror, oftentimes what we end up doing is we criticize and villainize and talk poorly to ourselves. Stop that, because the body's doing the right thing all the time. And so start to understand why your body's doing it. Why is the flab there? What can you do to make you the best version of you? Because the goal is not to look like a supermodel or to look like you belong on the cover of Muscle magazine, which maybe you want that to be your goal. But for most of us, the goal is to live in a healthy body that we look in the mirror and we absolutely love and we enjoy living in. Okay, if you loved this video, you're gonna wanna check out the next video of my food series. 5 foods that will sabotage weight loss. And they're going to surprise you. These are ones that you're probably doing thinking they're helping you lose weight.